How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Cameron King and Riley Mendoza here, checking in for another episode of School Podcast. This is educational, informative, and interessante.
Eric Gardner.
We are talking about Eric Gardner, the death of an innocent black man accused of selling cigarettes on a street corner, who did not resist arrest. If you've seen the video, it's a very sickening video. Like 4 cops confront him. There's some words are exchanged. They're like, "You're under arrest." How does it go?
It was a confrontation at first, and
what
then
are the
he resisted.
Have you listened to the confrontation? Can we pull up a transcript?
Yes. A transcript. Yeah.
Yeah, pull up a transcript of the Eric Gardner case.
He was standing outside of I think it was a 7-Eleven, like some sort of general store like that, and then 4 men approach him, accusing him of selling loose cigarettes. And I like how you use that his only crime was being big. I like how you said that in class. I was like, oh, shit. Anyways, he was confronted by these 3 men, and then the one that actually ended up killing him showed up like a few minutes after they began the confrontation.
Not even in a cop uniform, in a stupid like 99 t-shirt jersey type deal.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, where
he was on duty, apparently.
Where it got misconstrued, they felt the need to put his hands on him.
No idea. Like, the video is so confusing.
It's like he just walked up and wrapped his arm around him.
He walked up, wrapped his arm around him, pushed him against a wall, brought him to the ground. Eric Gardner said...
Eric Gardner could have easily taken... Like, he could have taken him. Like, he was a big guy. And Daniel Pandalay was not... He was pretty big. He was smaller than Eric was.
He was smaller than Eric, but he felt he had to use that to bring him down because he was big. Eric Gardner's only crime was being a large black man. That was it. And he was born that way. Something he was completely out of his control. That was his crime. And that's what led to his death. Eric Gardner, before his death, said the word, "I can't breathe," 11 times. Those were his last words.
That was what was chanted at one of the strikes and rallies and stuff. It was, "I can't breathe." People would walk up and down the streets.
Freaking insane that this cop was not federally persecuted for murder.
Being fired, that's like... being
it's
fired from a job...
Wrist.
People get fired from my job all the time for, like, being late. He got fired for killing someone. He should be in prison. Like, there's no
ifs, ands, or buts about it.
This justice system and just cops.
Cops are not above the law. They should enforce the law. The law should still apply to them. If they do not understand the line between where the law applies to them and where they have to enforce it.
Yeah, cops run red lights. Do you know the
cop that pulled me over ran a red light to pull me over? He followed me for a mile. I had run a stoplight that he thought, even though I was in the light when it was yellow, I was going the speed limit. He followed me for a mile to see if he could get. I don't know why. I didn't ask him because I was so nervous because it was my first time getting pulled over. But he followed me for a mile instead of just pulling me over, which is so weird. And then he said, probably my guess is that he was trying to get something else on me so he could get a higher ticket. But I just drove normally. Didn't even know the cop was behind me. And I turned left onto Montevideo. And when I turned right, I just saw this guy following me. And that's when the red flag popped up in my head. And then I saw red and blue lights. And I was like, oh, geez. And I was so confused. I was so scared. I was like, why is this happening? Because I have no idea what I did. I was like, it's probably that light, but, like, why didn't he pull me over earlier? Like, what am I getting pulled over for right now? And it was just a lot of emotions.
I've gotten pulled over, like, near your house 3 times, and, like, not gotten tickets. I've just gotten pulled over. Like
why?
Once it was just, "Why are you out right now?" The second was my trunk was open, and he was, like, kind of an asshole about it. He was like, "You realize that your trunk is open," and, like, he was just, like, an asshole about it, and he was like, "You can't be doing this kind of, like, shit when you're, like," he called me, like, irresponsible, and I was like, damn. Okay, whatever. And then the other time was just 'cause. I don't know.
Just 'cause?
Just 'cause.
'Cause why? Because you have a nice car?
It was... No. It's 'cause it looked like I was... Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
We're not going to talk about that. Shh.
Anyways,
Eric Gardner, talk about his family a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I kind of went into my Eric Gardner research yesterday, and I found a bunch of articles, and I kind of dug a little deeper on him personally, and he has 6 kids. Like, that's, like, so bad. Like, that. No, Daniel Pantaleo, he was, like, 47 or something like that. Daniel Pantaleo didn't even see him as a father. He just saw him as, like, this threat criminal.
This thug.
Ugh, God, sick. Anyways, he had 6 kids, and two of his daughters ended up, Emerald and Erica, and they ended up being these, like, full advocates for their father. And Erica Gardner ended up dying. She was 27. She ended up dying of a heart attack, like a week later.
From all that undue stress that the fucking United States caused.
Yeah, and then that same week, Eric Gardner's stepfather died of a stroke at his daughter's wedding. So bad. And, like,
pretty bad.
Can you imagine, like, 3 deaths in a family in a week?
And then guess what? This cop is still walking around a free man.
Like, he had, like, all of their blood is on his hands.
Yep.
All of it. What was
the cop's name?
Daniel Pantaleo.
Okay, I don't think we did explain the death. It was a chokehold. Yeah. Yes, it was a chokehold.
Chokehold. Brought him down to the floor. It was a chokehold at first, and then he had his face in the ground.
Yeah.
And
they pushed him down.
That was when he said he couldn't breathe.
I can't breathe, and they did nothing.
What was the actual cause of death?
Let's pause it.
Was it suffocation, or was it...
All right, so some information that I just received by Google is that apparently this case happened 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And just now I'm hearing about it. Just now this is coming into my sphere of consciousness that I want to do something about it.
I heard about it in the midst of it because I was in New York when it happened 5 years ago.
Did you see any protests?
I didn't see any, but I knew that they were happening.
So this happened December of 2014.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was in New York.
So why are we just making buzz about it now? Because of the Black Lives Matter movement?
Probably. But is that a bad thing? I
feel like it's a bad thing that I'm just hearing about it now.
Well, yeah.
That we're talking about it now, rather than explain why this police officer has not been federally prosecuted. How absurd it is.
It is absurd. But I don't know. It's stupid that people can get away like that. But he got away with that. Like, he's not... Like, he got fired.
Yeah. Is he a cop still?
I don't know. I actually didn't do any research on him. Let me look it up. Daniel Pantaleo.
While you're doing that...
He got a divorce. His wife divorced him.
Good, as she should have.
Yes.
It was like, hey, why'd you kill that guy? And now everyone's talking about it. It was just doing my job. Your job is to fucking choke out innocent black people? That's your job? I thought your job was to enforce the law.
He had kids.
Fucking idiot.
He had kids. His wife, they're fighting for custody, and she's probably going to end up, obviously, winning.
Or losing because she's a woman.
No, that's not necessarily true. Most in custody wars, women tend to win. I wonder what that stat is. Custody.
It's for another day.
Yeah.
So what do we think about STARR's reaction to Khalil being another hashtag? Why is this, rather than every other black man getting killed around her, why is this one so unique because he's her friend?
Well, she witnessed it, so that definitely has something to do with it.
Our vision, I feel like you had seeing isn't really believing.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like you had a really good point earlier in class when you said if school shootings were documented, like, visually, if people could actually see what was going on. I feel like shock
factor is a big thing.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
that's why these videos on Twitter of these innocent black people getting shot are so shocking and have created this outrage. Because people are witnessing this with their eyes. They're seeing this. They're understanding more rather than just seeing a statistic and a story that this is a real life thing.
It is an outrage.
That this is a real life thing with people that are not being seen as people.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then it's too late.
Yeah. and it makes me think about Nevaeh. Like, it just, like, she is African American.
Nevaeh is Riley's black foster child sister that her mother has adopted.
Yes, and it, like, scares me thinking, because, I mean, in the world. We live, I mean, predominantly we're, like, everybody's like, oh, San Ramon's so safe, and I mean, we are, and we're kind of in our own little bubble.
Don't you dare say but.
What?
Don't you dare say but.
I'm not gonna say but. I'm not gonna say but.
I thought that was a build up to a but.
No, I'm gonna say but. She's gonna want to go into the world, and she's gonna be living in this bubble, and she's gonna go out into the world and
thinking that the world is like this.
Because I know that's how. I mean, that's
how we perceive it.
That's kind of how I perceived it a little bit. Sadly, I wish I didn't, but I do. Like, seeing, like, these third world countries, just, like, how their, like, neighborhoods, and, like, watching, like...
You don't understand.
You don't understand.
I love Vice travel documentaries.
I watched,
I love Vice travel documentaries. They show you the world. They really do.
Yeah.
You've seen there's this, like... It's like the politics in Africa. Like, it's all politics are corrupt. Power corrupts humans to their core. And the fact that they didn't have no James Madison to, like, set in this entity that was built from England. Like, they don't have that. They're just, like, in the desert, just chilling. They don't have guidance, and no one's giving them guidance. They're just like, figure it out. Yeah. We have our own problems to deal with.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
And they were like, we can't. We can't. We don't have money.
Yeah. And our laws were written by white men, and, like, our cities were built by...
Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Second Amendment's so fucking stupid.
It was written by white men.
The fact that we can't fucking amend that, though, it says a lot about America.
It does.
It says a lot about America. It says a lot about America that we don't want to amend it. Like, why can't we say, yeah, you have the right to bear arms, but if you have this many arms, you should probably be kept a closer eye on.
Yeah.
Well, they
won. I mean, that was, like, a buzz for, like, a year, and then it kind of just, like, went away, and then school shootings started happening, and then, well, not started happening, they've always, like, been a thing, but, like, where it's weekly a thing, then it kind of...
It watered it down. Like, we don't even think about it. We're like, oh, El Paso? Oh, which one was that? The one where 25 people died? Nah, like 40. Oh, that country festival? How many people died? 50. Oh, that's a pretty big deal. Yeah. 50 people? That's a bigger number than 25.
People don't care unless it's happening to them. Like, it's just not, like, if our parents, like, I'm sure they care, but not to the point where they want to do something about it. But if our school got shot up today, they would want to go do something about it, and that's sad.
It's very sad.
That's really sad, and that's how, like, news portrays it. Like, I wrote that in my thing. I was like, the news, it's just a way of making people think, like, I'm glad that this isn't happening to me. Like, this is on the other side of the world. I'm glad that this isn't happening to me.
It's a sad but very human way of thinking, and it's hard. It's hard to change.
It is.
It's very hard to change. So thank you for tuning in to this short edition of our podcast. Mm-hmm. I hope the shortness of it made it feel a little bit more powerful, and that it can provoke your thought a little bit more. The moral of this is do something. Don't just idly sit around and understand. Speak. Make your voice be heard. Don't attack anyone's opinions. Try to inform and educate.
Yes.
That's the moral. That's the goal.
But don't conform yourself to society for society.
Why is that a but? How about as well as
don't conform yourself to what society wants you to be.
Yes.
That was something that I felt was something that should have been more pointed out in class.
Which one? What part?
Today. The whole sweatshirt thing. Nobody said that. Everybody was just like, get rid of the hoodies. Camille talked about, like, women, like, in that kind of sense, but nobody really talked about, like, you have the freedom. If you have the freedom of speech, you should be able to have the freedom to wear whatever you want to wear.
but not in society standards. But freedom of speech. Okay, we're gonna end it now. But freedom of speech isn't free. You can't yell hate crimes because society thinks it's bad, but it's still legal. But like you just looked that bad.
Yep.
Freedom of speech isn't free. Freedom isn't free. God bless.